If you're watching this, you probably sense that there's more to healing than quick fixes. Maybe you've tried to push through the symptoms and just feel stuck with all the noise. My journey becoming a healer started in a doctor's office. I was a patient myself. And for years, I was struggling with symptoms that the conventional paradigm just couldn't solve, and my issues kept stacking up. I was stuck in this cycle of reacting and matching my symptoms to drugs, but my health underneath all of that was not improving. Today, I want to invite you into my personal story and my philosophy and the 5 foundational truths that changed everything for me that I've picked up along the way from patient to practitioner. My personal health journey wasn't a single event. It was a slow, sneaky accumulation of symptoms. I was experiencing chronic acid reflux that was affecting my voice, insomnia, and I was 40 pounds overweight and truly felt stuck and depressed. So what do you do when you hit a wall? I did what we're all taught to do. I went to the doctor, and then I bounced around from practitioner to practitioner, specialist to specialist. I was a patient trapped in the frustrating loop of siloed approaches. One doctor for my gut, one doctor for my sleep, another for my depression, but no one was connecting the dots. I was being handed labels and prescriptions, but I wasn't getting any healthier. And have you ever had this experience where your labs are normal, but you feel anything but normal? It was a slow and painful journey, and I felt with each label and diagnosis and medication, it was stripping away my own sense of healing empowerment. I truly understood this feeling of being dismissed, like both your body and the medical system have given up or haven't found the right answers. This experience of being treated like an algorithm is what fueled my own search for something more, and it's what forced me to become the lead detective in my own case, but also inspired the path I chose for my life's work. Have you ever had that one conversation that changed the way you saw everything? For me, my turning point was when I finally saw a holistic practitioner that revealed to me that my symptoms were not just random problems. They were signals from my body that something deeper was wrong. It shaped my trajectory, and it led me to deep dive into holistic healing and alternative medicine. That up and down journey helped reveal 5 foundational truths that I now anchor into as the bedrock of my entire practice. So the first truth is that symptoms are not the enemy, they are signals. We are trained in this paradigm to view symptoms as problems to be silenced. The reflux, the sleepless nights, the depression, they were all looked at as bugs in the system to be eliminated. But I learned the hard way that symptoms are not the problem. They are our body's only language to tell us that something deeper is imbalanced. Suppressing the signal with a drug without asking why is like taking the batteries out of a smoke alarm during a fire. True healing began for me only when I stopped trying to silence the signals and started asking, what is my body trying to tell me? My second truth is that healing is an active partnership, not a passive prescription. Have you ever left a doctor's office feeling like you weren't really heard? The standard medical model often has a power imbalance. The doctor is the expert, and the patient's role is to follow orders. My own struggles taught me that this model leaves you feeling completely disempowered, and I needed more than a prescription. When you truly understand what's happening in your own body and become part of the process, you actually become empowered to make the changes that lead to real, lasting health. I see my role as part of a team, not to be a dictator of care. We review data together, build a plan together, and we check in together. The idea is the patient should be the leader of their own comeback story. The third truth is that you must address the whole person, not just isolated symptoms. My journey through the healthcare system felt like visiting a series of mechanics who only specialized in one part of the car. But the body does not work in silos. Living out of alignment with my purpose and authenticity was causing system-wide distress and failures. Undertones of chronic stress, religious trauma, and suppressed identity were wrecking my sleep and set the tone for my relentless acid reflux. You cannot fix one part in isolation without addressing what's driving those changes underneath. True healing has to be holistic. It must address the whole person, your mind, your stress, your environment, your relationships, because you're a complex, interconnected human being, not a collection of parts. When was the last time someone looked at all of you when it came to healing? The fourth truth that I learned was to get different answers, you must ask different questions. In conventional medicine, the goal is to find a diagnosis and match it with a standardized treatment. But as my own story proved, there is no average person when it comes to chronic, complex situations. A treatment that works for one person can fall short for another with the exact same diagnosis or label, because the root causes and the combinations of root causes are entirely different. I always say we're a sum of our lived experiences, and they manifest in our chemistry just as uniquely. Conventional labs are great and powerful, but they look for stark pathology. They don't address the scale of function to dysfunction on a nuanced spectrum. This is where advanced functional labs grounded in evidence-based practice come in. In functional medicine, we use advanced lab testing not to find a label, but to understand what's going on with your unique biological blueprint. And the fifth truth is that the goal for healing is to increase your health span, not just your lifespan. I remember for so long, my only goal was to just stop feeling sick. Conventional medicine excels at crisis care and symptom stifling, which extends your lifespan, the number of years that you're alive. But there's a far more important, and I would argue valuable metric, your health span, to consider. This is the number of years that you truly feel alive and vibrant, energetic, and actively engaged in your life, free from chronic disease. This idea is not about stifling symptoms and adding years to your life, but adding life to your years. The journey is not just about surviving, it's about finding ways to thrive and anchoring into how valuable that is. It's about proactively building a foundation of health that allows you to do what you love with the people you love for as long as possible. So how do you start to take action around these 5 truths? I know it can feel overwhelming, especially if you're not feeling well. But the journey does begin with a single small step and anchoring within before you look outward. The key is to build tiny, achievable habits through a method that I love, which is called habit stacking. Instead of trying to overhaul your life or compare yourself to wellness influencers, you stack on one small new habit onto something you already do, and then layer from there. For example, if you struggle with getting enough sleep, morning sunlight can help to reset your biorhythms. So when you take your first sip of water in the morning, step outside for just 60 seconds. Start there. That's it. These small actions can add up over time to help set a new foundation for your healing. And these are lifelong tools that you can lean on. They don't cost anything. What's one small habit that comes up for you intuitively that you'd like to start stacking today? These 5 truths, reframing your body's symptoms as signals, taking an active role in your healing, addressing the whole person, mind, body, and spirit, asking different questions when you're looking for different answers, and focusing on health span over lifespan. These are the pillars of my practice. Principles that I use to help others avoid the years of frustration that I went through. My story began with being a patient, which taught me that real healing isn't about finding the right pill for the ill or the quick fix. It's about understanding why the body is out of balance and giving it the support that it needs to heal itself. It's about shifting from feeling powerless and scared to feeling empowered and in control of your own health story, and arming yourself with the tools that you can lean on for life. I'm genuinely curious, which of these 5 truths resonated with you the most? Let me know in the comments below. Your story matters and it's unique, and sharing it is a very powerful step. And if you're wondering how to feel more empowered with healing tools like supplements, watch my next video on my 3T framework for strategic supplementation. You can also find the link in the description below. I'm Dr. Kenny Mittelstadt, Root Cause Health Detective. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.